Always special to see you, dear Wladimir, inside and outside the ring. I'm excited to speak to you today about your truly exciting life journey in the philanthropic fights that you also continue to win to support children. Wladimir Wladimirovich Klitschko is the Ukrainian philanthropist, Chernobyl survivor, and former professional boxer who competed from 1996 to 2017 and who proclaimed 2004 to 2015 as the Klitschko era, entering the Guinness World Records for the most world heavyweight title fight wins. For nothing short of many achievements academically, personally, and professionally, Wladimir is considered to be one of the best heavyweight champions of all time. He won the super heavyweight gold medal for Ukraine at the 1996 Olympics and was listed on the UNESCO Champions of Sport list for his support to children's education, and before that was also recognized by UNESCO with the Heroes for Kids Award. World Championship events didn't keep Wladimir from supporting the causes that he is deeply committed to, including colon cancer prevention, and of course, children and youth empowerment through the Felix Berda Foundation and his own Klitschko Foundation, which he established with his brother Vitaly. Wladimir holds a PhD in sports science from the Taras Shevchenko National University of Kiev. And for a number of years, Wladimir lectured at the University of St. Gallen in Switzerland, and more recently was invited to teach the Challenge Management course at Harvard Business School. Both Wladimir and Vitaly are frequently recognized as athletes with a golden heart for the support that they offer to numerous causes. And this is where I'd like to begin this conversation. Wladimir, the last time I checked, the Klitschko Foundation counted close to 2 million children as having received assistance by your foundation that you founded with your brother 17 years ago. Tell us about this journey and the mission to deliver impact through sports, science, education, and medicine for children in Ukraine.
Thank you so much for such a long introduction. That means now I feel I'm like 45, because it wouldn't be impossible to achieve and do things with 25, especially to be a Chernobyl survivor, which actually millions of people are. And unfortunately, some of people not, as our father, I would say our father, my brothers, Vitaly and my dad actually passed away 2013 as cause of catastrophic event of Chernobyl that affected millions of lives and will affect for a very long time. But speaking of the foundation, and before I will forget that, in the end, you missed, and simply, my Habibi, Wladimir Klitschko, which in Arabic means person that you really love, I would say, for you, and, it's so mutual. You are my Habibi as well, and it's a pleasure to be interviewed by a friend, a true friend. Thank you
Pleasure
for having
is mine,
me.
Habibi.
The pleasure is mine too, and thank you for the invitation. And regarding the foundation, Klitschko Foundation, 17 years, so it's 18th year now since we have founded with my brother Vitaly the foundation, and we were supported by many people in our life, and this support is crucially important. And I truly believe that self-made man doesn't exist, or woman. And if someone is going to say, like, I'm self-made man, it's totally wrong, or woman in this case as well. It's wrong, because there were two parents who actually made that self-made person, and that's just the beginning and the foundation of all in life. And especially when you want to achieve some goals, you need to have allies, you need to have partners, you need to have friends, you need to have, sometimes your competitors can become your partners to reach your goal, and it's called competition in business instead of competition like in sports. And since we were receiving so much support, we decided, there's time to give back. And it's a non-profit organization, and obviously it's something that you just want to give certain support like you were given before, but we want to do it systematically, sustainably, and we were thinking of topics. So if we have a non-profit organization as support for future generations and also current generation as well, and we were just thinking like, okay, what can we do and how can we identify what we stand for? Because there's a lot of things that you can stand for. And that was just on our hand. So we came from sport, and it was like, okay, sport is crucially important for young men and women, crucially important, because through competition, you learn a lot about yourself and about your competitors as well. And I believe that sport gives you this sense for respect as well. Respect for the opponent or opponents and for yourself too. And second topic was crucially important. So the first topic about the sport, obviously it's a lot of body because you're active, and so you learn your body as well, and it's basically power. But now I'm getting into the brain side. So it's just duality between brain and power. Education was crucially important for us because knowledge gives us a chance not to make the same mistakes that were made before us, and learn from the mistakes from the others. And even though you learned from the other mistakes, you're still gonna produce your own mistakes that you're gonna learn from. And education is crucially important part. That's why we decided, okay, that's what it is. We're gonna take care of education and sports. So as I said, it's a duality between brain and power, and crucially important for any person to achieve any goal in life or set up a goal.
And in your opinion, what is the most useful role that private philanthropists can play in making children's dreams come true? Whether that's in the Ukraine or in other developing regions of the world. It's certainly not something that can be addressed just with writing checks alone, right? So what does strategic philanthropy look like in this critical space?
You just said also, like mentioning countries and regions, and I believe that the world became more global. Through the pandemic, we understand that we're united, and it doesn't matter where we're at and what region, country, or continent we are connected with each other, and we need to actually stress out any situation that is happening somewhere and make it and put a global impact on it, because eventually it could become from local problem to a global problem. As we know, one of the examples is the pandemic and COVID-19. And I believe that entrepreneurs and philanthropists in this case definitely need to unite. And I believe there is a difference if you talk about the government and decentralization. I believe in this case, you talk about centralization of the desire to change the world for the good. And when you act together, you're getting different perspectives, because your perspective is different than my perspective. Not just because I'm 6'5" and you're like 6 feet tall, but it is also different perspective. And it's just like beginning from simple things and as an example to very complicated things. And sometimes you're getting to see just something over and over the same, and you're getting a little dull with that. And it's very important to communicate with the rest of the world and getting different perspectives, as I said, and also gaining different ideas and collaborate with each other. And I think it's crucially important that we centralize the effort. Either it's a fight against climate change, pandemic, or it gives us different examples that we actually need to come together, identify what's the threat coming from, localize it, and eliminate any chances to spread it out. Either it's a disease or having no chance for education. And we can go on and on and on and count a lot of different things that could affect our society. And I truly believe that philanthropism in this case is something that should become addictive and centralized. I know, as a matter of fact, with the Klitschko Foundation, we are local, but in Ukraine, in Kyiv, Ukraine, in the capital of Ukraine, but we're also having a great network. And we have, for instance, children from Kazakhstan traveling to Ukraine and having summer camps with the Ukrainian children and the children from the US and North America. So it was a great collaboration. Basically, you have different backgrounds, cultural, religious backgrounds. Just kids from Kazakhstan look different than kids from North America and Ukraine as well. So we've got all these different angles and different looks and different backgrounds. And we had this summer camp as an example with the Klitschko Foundation, where children had tasks and they're supposed to make short films and produce those films in different teams. And the best film was broadcasted on national television. And as well, they could keep those films for themselves as a first product that they've made in a collaboration with each other. And that's just the first project for them, how to work with each other, who is going to be responsible in the front of the camera, in the back of the camera, for editing, for lights, for microphones, for writing of the script. And eventually, you know, with the common effort, you just bring out there is product, a short film that they will keep it for their lifelong, as an example of how to achieve certain and other goals. And that's why, in my opinion, to be short with my answer and not talk too long, I think we need to centralize the effort, systemize it, and not just go in and obviously you need to take care, like, punctually at some points of issues that are out there, but centralize the effort. And I think that's crucially important, that we communicate with each other and we collecting the examples how certain or similar challenges were solved, but there are other philanthropies, you know, what methods and systems they used. And I think from learning from each other, it's going to help us to, as I said, identify quickly, localize quickly, and solve the issue quickly too.
And so on the topic of better communication and collaboration, not just between sector players, but across sectors, your foundation has been successful in rallying the business community to create a space for social, emotional, and physical development for children, as you've said. Are you happy with the state of business engagement with your cause and with organizations like the Klitschko Foundation? And what specific things can both sides, let's say business and philanthropy, do to enhance and get the most out of that relationship?
Well, if I would say I'm happy, that probably going to be like standing still. If I say I'm happy, that probably going to be not fair to someone who actually contributed something, you know. And I just want to say thank you for the previous support. And business is a crucially important part. And as a business person, you also need to think, like, how can I support my community or communities? Always to have this second thought. I believe it's crucially important, because receiving is nice, but giving is even nicer. And it gives you better motivation, gives you better sense for the future. Since I became a parent, all of a sudden I understood the circle of life. All of a sudden I understood my parents better. I thought I was understanding them better, but or good enough. But since you understand that you're in the chain of generations and you were receiving through the genes or support, as I said, from parents, from the house, from home, you just care about to passing to the future generations. So you're understanding, I'm in the chain and I need to do my part. So when you're a business person, obviously it's very important to take care of your own business and make it as good as possible, but not to forget the community, family, your city, your country, the world, because we're facing world issues and challenges. So not to forget about that, and how I can pass it and make it better, the future of my children and next generations. So as soon as this understanding is out there, you're definitely going to act differently. And as I said, I'm super happy how it was done before by the business world, and but I also want to motivate and no way criticize, but it's just motivation to get it even better. And that's why, you know, in the first or previous question and with my answer, and I believe we need to centralize our effort. With the centralization, we're just gonna get better communication with each other, and we will identify all the issues in this world, and also in our communities, and face it right there, and bring it out there.
And assuming those stars align, what does success look like to you in terms of the work that you're doing at the Klitschko Foundation? And how do you measure progress over time? Also, can you imagine a day when the foundation's support will no longer be necessary?
Success is tricky in sports, and I know, as a matter of fact, it's like a medal with two sides. It gives you satisfaction, but it numbs your motivation. And it doesn't matter, like, and the more success you get, the more the feeling of motivation is going to get dull, and it just numbs it, you know. And I was like always fighting, and I've been champion for 12 years combined. And I know, like, after a while, you're trying to motivate yourself. You're trying to figure out, you know, how can I be successful and repeat the success. And it is very important part of any business you do. I mean, in this case, philanthropy is something that is it's not profit, but it's something as a business. So you need to also handle it in a certain way as a business. And it is important to have success, but not to forget how you can repeat it. And at some point, everything has an end. Our life has an end. We've seen, you know, great empires coming to an end in history, like anything, basically. But how can we make it more sustainable and longer? And I believe this system of endowment and eventual compounding of the endowment. So the more financially you're secured, the better future you could have. And I love the idea of Alfred Nobel. You know, there's still Nobel Prize. Alfred is not with us, but it's still out there, and you know, people are getting supported, and the organization built so well that it's like even the founders. And at some point, Vitaly and I will not be in this world present, but the organization must function. And that's how we're trying to build more endowment in our foundation. So past our time, and with methodology that I've created, Face the Challenge, it can be passed to the future generations of directors of the foundation. So the principles will remain the same and not going to be changed at all. And that gives me good feeling of sustainability and just brighter future.
You have an interesting and diverse exposure to philanthropy in both Eastern and Western Europe. How would you describe the current state of the nonprofit landscape in countries like Ukraine versus, say, Germany? Are you witnessing the nonprofit sector growing and changing over time between these different parts of the world? And do you think that there is most scope for collaboration between these parts of the world, that is the so-called developing world and the developed world?
You're right. Totally different worlds and totally different approach. And I believe that Ukrainians and Ukraine can improve a lot in philanthropy compared to Germans. And I think that's a lot to learn for us Ukrainians, how we can have it in the same way and do it even better. And I think we can do it pretty good with analytics and also implementation in our system as Ukrainians. Even though the worlds are different and we're trying to build bridges. With the Klitschko Foundation, as an example, we work with the DFB Foundation, Deutsche Fußballbund, one of the largest organization, or like one of the largest organizations in the world of soccer, and soccer is huge. So we're collaborating where Ukrainian children go into Germany and the other way around on the different products and different projects and exchange of the experience, and how can we collaborate. And we've been collaborating, and those bridges are extremely important. We're not far away geographically from each other, but we're far away from approaches. And I think that our current generation, future generations will learn from each other through such exchange. You can read about it, you can theoretically get a lot of knowledge, but when you go yourself and practically see it and observe it in that country, as lots of Ukrainian kids went to Germany, and the other way around, it's just something that really will remain lifelong in your memory. It doesn't matter what you're going to do as an adult. If you're as a child got this feeling, and you were literally traveling and collaborating on some projects with other kids, it's crucially important. So as I said, now with the Zoom calls and digitalization is crucially important as well, but also practically still important to be part of it and feel it and see it and not just read about it, because theory and praxis, they're similar, but they're totally different. So, and I think we'll continue to getting more experience and getting more knowledge and share this knowledge in Ukraine on the philanthropy point, and the expertise that we have collected, just share also with local organizations, which we do in Ukraine too, and the other way around. I think Germans can learn from the Ukrainians too. There's always different angle on something, always. It's never the same.
Absolutely. You've told me recently about the challenge management philosophy and methodology that you've been developing and of course are now teaching, including in places like Harvard. Could you describe what that is in summary, but also how it can be applied across different aspects of what you do and what everybody else does, including, of course, within the philanthropic sector?
I believe that a system is very important. Something that you have, and I learned it as an athlete, you need to be disciplined. You need to be, you need to remain consistent in something that you do and you learned, and you need to improve with your consistency. It doesn't mean that you need to do the same thing over and over, as we athletes practice a lot. Like a golfer, he makes the swing billions of times during the lifespan, you know, and every swing is better and better and better. It's never ending process. And I truly think that we will improve if we do systematically and sustainably. And in this case, methodology faced the challenge that is based on my experience as an athlete, that has been implemented on personal level as well as on corporate level. SAP and Deutsche Telekom are using it in their ecosystem. And just recently announced you can use it even in finance with Face Capital. There are going to be services provided to also how you can sustainably invest. I mean, there's like with the methodology also in philanthropy, it's very important that everyone kind of having the same understanding of the consequences if we don't do it. What is it going to be like? Or if we do it, how is it going to be like? And that we can contribute from each side with understanding of consequences, positive or negative, so we can eventually identify the goal where we're going. Like we were identifying what Klitschko Foundation stands for. So we choose sport and education and so on. So I believe that a system will definitely help us to improve our approach as entrepreneurs, but as well as philanthropists.
And could you just, for the benefit of the viewers, expand the acronym FACE?
Well, as I explained, it's based on my athletic background and almost 30 years of being an athlete. I was thinking, how can I pass to the future generations my knowledge and make a system out of it? So, and unfortunately, a negative event triggered it. My Hall of Fame coach, Emmanuel Stewart, passed away, and he passed away during my training camp. And I remember his wife, Mary, called me and said, Emmanuel just passed away. And I was in the camp. I just finished my first workout, and I was going up to cabin in the Austrian Alps. And all of a sudden, the world crashed. And I was thinking, Emmanuel had so much of expertise. He was genius in boxing. And then with his passing away, all his knowledge is gone. The knowledge, or what he passed to us athletes, or with whom he worked, we're going to keep it for our lifelong. But then we're going to go, and then so what's going to happen with all the expertise? The expertise is going to go too. So, and I was thinking, it is crucially important to leave it out there in the world that the same mistakes will not be going to be done, and we need to learn from the history of mistakes so we can improve our evolution process and accelerate it and get better. And I was thinking about many different things until I got into the methodology that I've been sharing for the past 6 years at the University of St. Gallen as a CES certified study course with the name of Challenge Management. That's the philosophy of my life and philosophy of the method, Face the Challenge, and the course called Challenge Management, Change and Innovation Management and Self-Management. And as well as at HBS, Harvard Business School, and at the beginning of this year, HBS has made case study and published case study, which is based on my athletic background as well as Face the Challenge methodology. And it's going to be taught as soon as the participants will, because it's more for executives, participants will come back on campus of HBS school due to pandemic. So a little bit everything, postponed, but it's also, to me, as I said, continue to be crucially important to pass it to the future generations in different shapes and forms. 2 books, two books and a workbook. So 3 books came out, study books came out within this 6 years and translated in different languages. And University of St. Gallen, we share the methodology in German language through the HBS. It's in English, so it's more for language more common for the world. And I believe that we will eventually digitalize the experience. So you don't need really to go to the university, but you can get it through the digital side of the world and learn methodology and how you can tackle your challenges and conquer them, identify them, and be the winner in there.
Fantastic. Final question. As we begin to come out of the depths of the COVID-19 pandemic, what issues do you think more strategic philanthropists around the world should be turning their attention to, and why? And where do you think the greatest opportunities will be for philanthropists and nonprofit organizations and foundations to generate the biggest impact in the years ahead?
If we speak about the biggest impact, digitalization, what else? I mean, we see how the cryptocurrency, just speaking out of my life, I had Soviet ruble, I had Deutschmark, I had coupons when Soviet Union broke apart, and all of a sudden we didn't have any currency in Ukraine. So I've seen French francs, and I've seen like a year now. It's euro, and eventually cryptocurrency. So I can count endlessly. But cryptocurrency, that's the digital way, and of actually buying or paying or getting things and being paid for and with. And it is digitalization has changed our world. It has made our world smaller. There are also some very significant positive sides of it. So we can identify through digital world and seeing things, how we can act and learn from each other much faster, exchange information. And I believe that the world and the future of the world, and also the philanthropy has to do and will be continue improving in this case with digitalization. And we're talking about, like, currently with Klitschko Foundation, we're working on NFTs with the blockchain in the background, and NFT is giving us a chance to fill up our financial background. And it's amazing how fast the development is going, and how you can create products that are so exclusive and so just cool with time, and you can have this product anywhere in the world. You don't really need to travel with that, but you can have a cell phone, for instance, and that's it. And just connection to the global net. And as we know, through all the satellites that are going to be all around our planet, and getting internet in every single place, above the ground, and who knows, maybe under the ground too, because improvement is amazing. Or if we travel to another planet, which is not like any craziness anymore, but like seems pretty realistic. So I believe that digital world will improve our life and will give us a lot of challenges that we need to tackle and identify. But I believe that the future is out there, and we're trying to, as I love this quote, and the idea of Darwin, not the strongest is going to survive and not the smartest, but someone who is adjusting to the environment. And we need to adjust to this digital environment, and we need to really put our time and take our time to learn how it functions, and maybe even be part of it, not just use it as a user, but just maybe create some your own NFT, that eventually will be passed to someone and going to change someone's future or current state. So digitalization is the key, and that's what we need to understand, learn, and improve. Also our knowledge about it.
Thank you, Brother Wladimir, for taking the time to speak with me today, and for sharing your unique perspectives on these important issues. And as you've taught me over the years, keep on punching.
Keep on punching, Habibi. Keep on punching.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.